She likes shopping. She likes shopping. Nighttime should not be compared. Nighttime should not be compared. I bought a book. I bought a book. That name. That name. Hi John. Omar asked me the following question. What answer to him? Hi John. Omar asked me the following question. What answer to him? The development of new technology has created new business opportunities. The development of new technology has created new business opportunities. The black cat crossed the street in front of me. The black cat crossed the street in front of me. Should I block it after 5 days? Should I block it after 5 days? You rarely objected. You rarely objected. Did they respond to our request for a quiet room? Did they respond to our request for a quiet room? Is your mother-in-law a caretaker? Is your mother-in-law a caretaker? Can you extend it? Can you extend it? Can't he be a night watcher? Can't he be a night watcher? With the help of John and his teams, we made the first launch this week. With the help of John and his teams, we made the first launch this week. Do we have to serve after 4 midnight? Do we have to serve after 4 midnight? We couldn't answer. We couldn't answer. You should get old last year. You should get old last year. The foreign student had difficulty in understanding the lesson. The foreign student had difficulty in understanding the lesson. I have a cough for 3 weeks. I have a cough for 3 weeks. I can fall any day. I can fall any day. Was her half-sister a songwriter? Was her half-sister a songwriter? Later. Later. Her stepdaughters were librarians. Her stepdaughters were librarians. Do you agree? Do you agree? I do not occupy. I do not occupy. We may not be able to do carpentry at sunset. We may not be able to do carpentry at sunset. He has one brother. He has one brother. For I am in the room with the toys. For I am in the room with the toys. Is his grandfather a painter? Is his grandfather a painter? After the review, we will discuss the next steps. After the review, we will discuss the next steps. I'll be at work at 8 in the morning. I'll be at work at 8 in the morning. Can he be a scavenger often? Can he be a scavenger often? Couldn't try soon. Couldn't try soon. Can't we grow up later? Can't we grow up later? Aren't you surrounded every day? Aren't you surrounded every day? Will you plan for the next 5 days? Will you plan for the next 5 days? Were their children lawyers? Were their children lawyers? You can fly. You can fly. Is his grandson a bookkeeper? Is his grandson a bookkeeper? Banner impressions and click were working fine. Banner impressions and click were working fine. I will spend my weekend watching sports. I will spend my weekend watching sports. Very rarely. Very rarely. Rarely hit? Rarely hit? You are responsible for your silence. You are responsible for your silence. Can't she do groceries every 2 weeks? Can't she do groceries every 2 weeks? I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Carefully. Carefully. All necessary precautions should be taken to ensure safety. All necessary precautions should be taken to ensure safety. We should be better. We should be better. I must not forget to call my grandmother on her birthday. I must not forget to call my grandmother on her birthday. They prepared dinner for their families. They prepared dinner for their families. I also want to try the new restaurant in town. I also want to try the new restaurant in town. Doesn't he recommend? Doesn't he recommend? Do you usually feed? Do you usually feed? I may not be a representative last year. I may not be a representative last year. Would you like to dance? Would you like to dance? I'm not curious, I'm just curious. I'm not curious, I'm just curious. Can't you win at noon? Can't you win at noon? We are unable to book hotels until we confirm our travel dates. We are unable to book hotels until we confirm our travel dates. Are your kids nanny? Are your kids nanny? Does he fly? Does he fly? They'll be rehearsing for 2 weeks when the concert starts. They'll be rehearsing for 2 weeks when the concert starts. I'm going to the cemetery. I'm going to the cemetery. Your grandparents are sailors. Your grandparents are sailors. They were standing listening to the radio. They were standing listening to the radio. I am going to school. I am going to school. I don't notice anything strange. I don't notice anything strange. Joe is with me. Joe is with me. I don't want to lose my destiny. I don't want to lose my destiny. Will you invite? Will you invite? They can normally be a cop. They can normally be a cop. Your grandma is a grocer. Your grandma is a grocer. Is our sister a therapist? Is our sister a therapist? We were determined to finish the project until the very end. We were determined to finish the project until the very end. Wouldn't I be a fashion designer for 5 afternoons? Wouldn't I be a fashion designer for 5 afternoons? Didn't he make a sound before? Didn't he make a sound before? I could come. I could come. Should we go to the city by bus or train? Should we go to the city by bus or train? I have to go home. I have to go home. He was fixing his car in the garage. He was fixing his car in the garage. Nothing, just look. Nothing, just look. They have very good manners. They have very good manners. Our stepson is a swimmer. Our stepson is a swimmer. Your uncle was a blacksmith. Your uncle was a blacksmith. You won't know soon. You won't know soon. May not push. May not push. Shouldn't he invent every day? Shouldn't he invent every day? I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to see it again. Why do you think? Why do you think? I cooked dinner for my family. I cooked dinner for my family. My head is aching. My head is aching. They can find it later. They can find it later. Is your friend an optician? Is your friend an optician? They should clean windows every year. They should clean windows every year. Was taking a step. Was taking a step. Can they make jewelry soon? Can they make jewelry soon? I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Let's go over it one more time before we start the presentation. Let's go over it one more time before we start the presentation. Was Mr. Tandy a teacher last week? Was Mr. Tandy a teacher last week? No clean towels in the bathroom. No clean towels in the bathroom. They cannot experience after 1 second. They cannot experience after 1 second. It should connect after a minute. It should connect after a minute. Is our sister a therapist? Is our sister a therapist? We were a family. We were a family. Sometimes it didn't work. Sometimes it didn't work. I will create at sunrise. I will create at sunrise. By the time you read this, I will have gone on vacation. By the time you read this, I will have gone on vacation. Didn't they mark? Didn't they mark? They can be removed on a weekly basis. They can be removed on a weekly basis. It gets very hot here, especially in summer. It gets very hot here, especially in summer. He always reads a book before going to bed. He always reads a book before going to bed. Our cousins were hunters. Our cousins were hunters. I'm going to the beach this weekend. I'm going to the beach this weekend. When are you coming? When are you coming? They couldn't publish it daily. They couldn't publish it daily. We couldn't find it. We couldn't find it. The new store is located above the coffee shop. The new store is located above the coffee shop. What is breakfast included? What is breakfast included? Did it hide at noon? Did it hide at noon? We did not exercise in the afternoon. We did not exercise in the afternoon. I need to charge my phone before going to bed. I need to charge my phone before going to bed. Translator 2 minutes ago. Translator 2 minutes ago. She wasn't usually a policewoman. She wasn't usually a policewoman. Caught a fish in the lake. Caught a fish in the lake. Will you drop me off at the train station tomorrow? Will you drop me off at the train station tomorrow? Do you have to love every day? Do you have to love every day? You shouldn't be a night guard. You shouldn't be a night guard. He's going to visit his grandparents next weekend. He's going to visit his grandparents next weekend. Has it rained? Has it rained? Should not eat. Should not eat. Could you please sign this consent form? Could you please sign this consent form? You can be a scavenger every month. You can be a scavenger every month. Your uncle was a blacksmith. Your uncle was a blacksmith. Will he ride next year? Will he ride next year? I'm sorry I can't be with you. I'm sorry I can't be with you. Can he remember later at 5 a.m.? Can he remember later at 5 a.m.? Wasn't he settling? Wasn't he settling? Immediately imagines. Immediately imagines. Does not respond every day. Does not respond every day. Can't we visit in 3 seconds? Can't we visit in 3 seconds? Do they exercise? Do they exercise? I don't do pottery at noon. I don't do pottery at noon. His sister was a songwriter. His sister was a songwriter. Was her husband a midwife? Was her husband a midwife? I have to skip the other meeting, thanks. I have to skip the other meeting, thanks. Don't you need to fill? Don't you need to fill? It's in the oven. It's in the oven. You will be an innkeeper for 2 weeks. You will be an innkeeper for 2 weeks. I like to go for a walk in the park on sunny days. I like to go for a walk in the park on sunny days. Our stepfather is a stockbroker. Our stepfather is a stockbroker. This is a really nice car. This is a really nice car. I have to sell my house. I have to sell my house. Whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? What is your contact number? What is your contact number? Not trades after 3 hours. Not trades after 3 hours. Can he arrest every day? Can he arrest every day? I will be the most famous person in the world. I will be the most famous person in the world. I fix all the windows in the Parker's house. I fix all the windows in the Parker's house. Can you be injured? Can you be injured? Her stepdaughter was the lead actress. Her stepdaughter was the lead actress. Didn't we take out one weekend before? Didn't we take out one weekend before? Can't it be at sunrise? Can't it be at sunrise? Can you be responsible? Can you be responsible? Autonomy. Autonomy. Not sorting at dusk? Not sorting at dusk? I will teach you English with Mr. Tandy. I will teach you English with Mr. Tandy. We must act quickly. We must act quickly. The officer is often oiling his gun. The officer is often oiling his gun. Didn't they see you soon? Didn't they see you soon? Are we factory workers of 10 years? Are we factory workers of 10 years? What is your phone number? What is your phone number? Inte. Should we seldom be mechanics? Should we seldom be mechanics? I'm not focusing. I'm not focusing. Didn't I play before? Didn't I play before? I'm so angry I might bump into something. I'm so angry I might bump into something. The various types of cheese were very good. The various types of cheese were very good. They don't sign every week. They don't sign every week. I have a suit made of stone. I have a suit made of stone. I want you to go. I want you to go. I'm going to read an English novel. I'm going to read an English novel. Where do you go when you are sick? Where do you go when you are sick? He may not like it. He may not like it. I will learn to code. I will learn to code. Can you edit after 1 month? Can you edit after 1 month? Where we were. Where we were. After 4 evenings, he may not fight. After 4 evenings, he may not fight. Answered 5 weeks ago. Answered 5 weeks ago. 4 minutes later? 4 minutes later? Do you like to take photos? Do you like to take photos? Can't he create? Can't he create? Should he be suspicious now? Should he be suspicious now? Can they always wonder? Can they always wonder? The act of vandalism is illegal. The act of vandalism is illegal. He will travel to Japan next summer. He will travel to Japan next summer. Was our brother a jeweler? Was our brother a jeweler? You did not return. You did not return. Don't you need to fill? Don't you need to fill? He is the waiter. He is the waiter. Were there kids firefighters? Were there kids firefighters? Shouldn't he be a urologist at dawn? Shouldn't he be a urologist at dawn? Your grandson was. Your grandson was. His half-sister was a cashier. His half-sister was a cashier. Do you always have to inspect? Do you always have to inspect? I have no idea. I have no idea. Should invite. Should invite. To present. To present. Would not interpret 10 years. Would not interpret 10 years. They shout every hour. They shout every hour. Weren't we behaving? Weren't we behaving? They get fit 5 hours ago. They get fit 5 hours ago. Are we ranking? Are we ranking? I have 2 sisters. I have 2 sisters. He is not a frequent pianist. He is not a frequent pianist. They subscribe to a magazine. They subscribe to a magazine. Can we ever come back? Can we ever come back? They should not be placed later. They should not be placed later. Your mother is a shepherd. Your mother is a shepherd. Have you been brewing before? Have you been brewing before? Did you dream 2 nights ago? Did you dream 2 nights ago? Were you always the captain? Were you always the captain? They burn. They burn. We still have a chance to get in. We still have a chance to get in. In fact, this ticket was not supposed to be a sprint goal. In fact, this ticket was not supposed to be a sprint goal. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Your stepson was the surrogate. Your stepson was the surrogate. Pleased. Pleased. Our half-brother was vice president. Our half-brother was vice president. They may not take a step last year. They may not take a step last year. They argued for hours until they finally came to an agreement. They argued for hours until they finally came to an agreement. We are not mayor now. We are not mayor now. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? Can we live from time to time? Can we live from time to time? Didn't I reject the adder afterwards? Didn't I reject the adder afterwards? We couldn't hide. We couldn't hide. Immediately ran. Immediately ran. Citizens were asked to provide identification at the ballot box. Citizens were asked to provide identification at the ballot box. He had no control over the situation. He had no control over the situation. Is your grandson an analyst? Is your grandson an analyst? I'm going to play ball in the garden with my friends after class tomorrow. I'm going to play ball in the garden with my friends after class tomorrow. His wife was the manager. His wife was the manager. Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Is it informed annually? Is it informed annually? I'm going to the airport. I'm going to the airport. I have to donate the oranges. I have to donate the oranges. Does it change every day? Does it change every day? Did he juggle 5 months ago? Did he juggle 5 months ago? I can be a cleaner in a year. I can be a cleaner in a year. You can approach daily. You can approach daily. I like to take a walk. I like to take a walk. Don't you have a pension? Don't you have a pension? Cannot be derived after 1 second. Cannot be derived after 1 second. Your mother-in-law is a travel agency. Your mother-in-law is a travel agency. We must complete this task by the end of the day. We must complete this task by the end of the day. Does it pull? Does it pull? They didn't get it. They didn't get it. When is your next lesson? When is your next lesson? Didn't tile before? Didn't tile before? I hope I helped. I hope I helped. You will need to buy a new phone. You will need to buy a new phone. I am trying to improve my English language skills. I am trying to improve my English language skills. I feel like I'm in a dream. I feel like I'm in a dream. Am I not an advertiser in 5 centuries? Am I not an advertiser in 5 centuries? I'm going to take a yoga class in the morning. I'm going to take a yoga class in the morning. What happened to you? What happened to you? Will I miss it soon? Will I miss it soon? I agree with your thinking. I agree with your thinking. The job is beyond compare. The job is beyond compare. Shouldn't we rule at sunset? Shouldn't we rule at sunset? How did you do this? How did you do this? Our staff is trained to be professional and helpful. Our staff is trained to be professional and helpful. I don't want to lose my machine because of low prices. I don't want to lose my machine because of low prices. He studied for the exam all week. He studied for the exam all week. Wouldn't he report at sunset? Wouldn't he report at sunset? Didn't I become a tradesman a week ago? Didn't I become a tradesman a week ago? Can you become a civil servant last year? Can you become a civil servant last year? They will have a baby next month. They will have a baby next month. Couldn't they have denied it 4 weeks ago? Couldn't they have denied it 4 weeks ago? Could I not go forward? Could I not go forward? They had planned the trip for months, but it was cancelled due to bad weather. They had planned the trip for months, but it was cancelled due to bad weather. Better today. Better today. Answered 5 weeks ago. Answered 5 weeks ago. You weren't a mechanic 3 minutes ago. You weren't a mechanic 3 minutes ago. It is very important to question our beliefs. It is very important to question our beliefs. Are their mother-in-laws fashion designers? Are their mother-in-laws fashion designers? Will we care? Will we care? Wouldn't we run away at noon? Wouldn't we run away at noon? Despite the cold weather, we went for a walk. Despite the cold weather, we went for a walk. Was our stepbrother a lifeguard? Was our stepbrother a lifeguard? He uses a smartphone to stay connected. He uses a smartphone to stay connected. Can it connect to 5 a.m. earlier? Can it connect to 5 a.m. earlier? You nurse. You nurse. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. They watch TV after dinner. They watch TV after dinner. Have you ever been to Paris? Have you ever been to Paris? Can write. Can write. Your neighbor is Docker. Your neighbor is Docker. Could there be other options? Could there be other options? I can relate after one night. I can relate after one night. I could run fast back then. I could run fast back then. I need to have this surgery as soon as possible. I need to have this surgery as soon as possible. I walked to the store. I walked to the store. Don't I fly often? Don't I fly often? Rarely will I appreciate it. Rarely will I appreciate it. I always collect Christmas cards from my friends and family. I always collect Christmas cards from my friends and family. I can be a journalist every month. I can be a journalist every month. My relatives are architects. My relatives are architects. I'm in the room with the paintings. I'm in the room with the paintings. Didn't she wait? Didn't she wait? Air traffic controller in 2 hours? Air traffic controller in 2 hours? His half-sisters were messengers. His half-sisters were messengers. Then 1 in the morning it wouldn't shake. Then 1 in the morning it wouldn't shake. You shouldn't install it after 4 centuries. You shouldn't install it after 4 centuries. Should not appear. Should not appear. Should he retire after 1 year? Should he retire after 1 year? Is your half-sister a nutritionist? Is your half-sister a nutritionist? Could he not walk? Could he not walk? Could this be a potential problem in the future? Could this be a potential problem in the future? They had been trying to have a baby for years until they finally decided to adopt. They had been trying to have a baby for years until they finally decided to adopt. Our outdoor seating area is very popular. Our outdoor seating area is very popular. Morning. Morning. Can I limit? Can I limit? Don't they think yearly? Don't they think yearly? Can't I survive the night? Can't I survive the night? See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. You should not gamble if it is illegal in your area. You should not gamble if it is illegal in your area. We would not experience. We would not experience. You have to plan at sunset. You have to plan at sunset. The house is out of the reach of manpower. The house is out of the reach of manpower. I don't want to go to war. I don't want to go to war. Do you have a pet? Do you have a pet? Stepdaughter's registrar. Stepdaughter's registrar. I can't understand what's going on inside his head. I can't understand what's going on inside his head. You can lay tiles after 3 months. You can lay tiles after 3 months. Your father was a masseuse. Your father was a masseuse. We are injured. We are injured. We were not sent. We were not sent. Will there be a ballerina at sunset? Will there be a ballerina at sunset? When we arrived at the theater, the play had already begun. When we arrived at the theater, the play had already begun. They were trying to find a solution to the problem. They were trying to find a solution to the problem. Shouldn't he be watching? Shouldn't he be watching? This is a serious issue that needs to be addressed immediately. This is a serious issue that needs to be addressed immediately. Should it roll at dawn? Should it roll at dawn? We need to test this plan before we implement it. We need to test this plan before we implement it. Must hate the moon. Must hate the moon. Normally there is. Normally there is. Can it create last year? Can it create last year? They didn't get it. They didn't get it. I have to go now. I have to go now. How old is your grandfather? How old is your grandfather? Are you leaving in a minute? Are you leaving in a minute? Can't we rule soon? Can't we rule soon? Can't they force? Can't they force? When did he leave? When did he leave? You won't talk later. You won't talk later. Can we usually do a hematologist? Can we usually do a hematologist? Can it expand after a day? Can it expand after a day? His mother-in-laws were educators. His mother-in-laws were educators. Your sister was a garbage man. Your sister was a garbage man. This may be an error. This may be an error. I was seeing so much that I couldn't see anything. I was seeing so much that I couldn't see anything. Couldn't you have been a carpenter 2 months ago? Couldn't you have been a carpenter 2 months ago? Shopping. Shopping. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. The situation is very serious. The situation is very serious. They were not accepted annually. They were not accepted annually. The baby cries when he is hungry. The baby cries when he is hungry. They are producers. They are producers. Neighbors are teachers. Neighbors are teachers. Won't be defeated. Won't be defeated. Is her mother-in-law the referee? Is her mother-in-law the referee? He was creating a new work of art in his studio. He was creating a new work of art in his studio. Should he try? Should he try? I cooked dinner for my family. I cooked dinner for my family. It wasn't always a barista. It wasn't always a barista. Competitive. Competitive. That's when it appeared. That's when it appeared. The company is about to launch a new product. The company is about to launch a new product. Are you writing in 5 years? Are you writing in 5 years? Are their spouses anthropologists? Are their spouses anthropologists? We also need to consider the budget for this trip. We also need to consider the budget for this trip. I can't understand what's going on inside his head. I can't understand what's going on inside his head. Shall we continue in the twilight? Shall we continue in the twilight? The house is beyond the power of man. The house is beyond the power of man. Is his colleague a philosopher? Is his colleague a philosopher? We cross the city limits. We cross the city limits. Can we lie now? Can we lie now? Is our grandfather a nurse? Is our grandfather a nurse? Am I not a naturalist right away? Am I not a naturalist right away? Doesn't it help? Doesn't it help? Please don't be me. Please don't be me. Do you need any special help? Do you need any special help? Obligation. Obligation. Was his stepfather a researcher? Was his stepfather a researcher? Would we normally notice? Would we normally notice? But I still feel sad. But I still feel sad. They don't know. They don't know. Stepson pathologist. Stepson pathologist. The food is incomparable. The food is incomparable. Is he assessing at 4 in the morning? Is he assessing at 4 in the morning? I can't believe they're going to televise the trial. I can't believe they're going to televise the trial. When I got to the party, everyone had already left. When I got to the party, everyone had already left. Let me know if you want to go to the beach. Let me know if you want to go to the beach. Minute. Minute. His sister is a lawyer. His sister is a lawyer. My secretary at dusk. My secretary at dusk. Can I talk about nighttime? Can I talk about nighttime? Don't they just drop it? Don't they just drop it? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? He couldn't speak normally. He couldn't speak normally. Where are we meeting? Where are we meeting? Our wife was a hairdresser. Our wife was a hairdresser. The plane flew above the clouds. The plane flew above the clouds. It's okay, I'm not angry. It's okay, I'm not angry. He's listening. He's listening. Wouldn't he normally hit? Wouldn't he normally hit? I won't want to go home. I won't want to go home. There is nothing we can do for that girl. There is nothing we can do for that girl. His brothers were journalists. His brothers were journalists. It won't bother you anytime soon. It won't bother you anytime soon. Was his half-brother a baker? Was his half-brother a baker? Hi John. Omar asked me the following question. What answer to him? Hi John. Omar asked me the following question. What answer to him? We can't go for a walk until the weather clears. We can't go for a walk until the weather clears. We are usually unable to advise. We are usually unable to advise. Were our cousins farmers? Were our cousins farmers? Then you meant. Tomorrow I will write a letter to my friend. Tomorrow I will write a letter to my friend. Will he know? Will he know? His brother is a sports reporter. His brother is a sports reporter. He can come at noon. He can come at noon. Shouldn't you usually referee? Shouldn't you usually referee? I want you to go. I want you to go. Was it his Uncle Potter? Was it his Uncle Potter? Can he care? Can he care? They should often be secretaries. They should often be secretaries. We handle. We handle. You will need to pay your bills. You will need to pay your bills. My extra vigor and fair views are expressed on the farm. My extra vigor and fair views are expressed on the farm. We flew to Hawaii for our vacation. We flew to Hawaii for our vacation. Should you be a naturalist? Should you be a naturalist? Doesn't say much. Doesn't say much. Your sister was the bartender. Your sister was the bartender. Then he should request it at 4 a.m. Then he should request it at 4 a.m. 2 weeks ago. Can trades be? 2 weeks ago. Can trades be? We should kiss from time to time. We should kiss from time to time. You didn't tell us anything. You didn't tell us anything. If I had the money, I could buy a new car. If I had the money, I could buy a new car. Does it suppress? Does it suppress? It can wait every week. It can wait every week. Your half-sister is the librarian. Your half-sister is the librarian. Up to you. Up to you. His neighbor is a lawyer. His neighbor is a lawyer. Can you be a daily nutritionist? Can you be a daily nutritionist? After 5 minutes he should trust. After 5 minutes he should trust. Didn't he always translate? Didn't he always translate? Is your daughter a docker? Is your daughter a docker? Shouldn't I run away? Shouldn't I run away? You shouldn't cheat on the exam. You shouldn't cheat on the exam. Would he learn? Would he learn? He's shouting 1 minute ago. He's shouting 1 minute ago. I can't believe you did this. I can't believe you did this. I'm in the next room. I'm in the next room. Didn't they become a secretary next year? Didn't they become a secretary next year? May not be available every week. May not be available every week. Should we rank? Should we rank? Is your niece a decorator? Is your niece a decorator? Were they forgotten the night before? Were they forgotten the night before? I must excuse the paints. I must excuse the paints. Please enter your email address for the newsletter. Please enter your email address for the newsletter. They cost in a second. They cost in a second. I can paint yearly. I can paint yearly. The population of the country is increasing. The population of the country is increasing. What are your plans for today? What are your plans for today? They don't get cold. They don't get cold. They don't climb every year. They don't climb every year. They won't hate. They won't hate. Could you please close the door behind you? Could you please close the door behind you? Are his siblings gardeners? Are his siblings gardeners? To care about. To care about. Let me help. Let me help. Was your stepmother a poet? Was your stepmother a poet? I had breakfast at home. I had breakfast at home. I will pass the law at tonight's meeting. I will pass the law at tonight's meeting. She can be a waitress at dawn. She can be a waitress at dawn. I'm soft. I'm soft. Why don't you sit? Why don't you sit? Her sisters were educators. Her sisters were educators. You were the hunter. You were the hunter. Can you give me the scissors? Can you give me the scissors? Later in the morning they are not inspectors. Later in the morning they are not inspectors. We wouldn't load at dusk. We wouldn't load at dusk. We shouldn't be airmen in 3 hours. We shouldn't be airmen in 3 hours. Your half-sister is moving. Your half-sister is moving. I have a runny nose. I have a runny nose. I could run. I could run. I'm going to church. I'm going to church. If you want a lot of money you can save money and you have to work. If you want a lot of money you can save money and you have to work. Won't we know? Won't we know? English sentences that can be used every day. English sentences that can be used every day. Does my grandma draw? Does my grandma draw?